Jeremy. Today's day 368 of reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Let's get started. We are currently on page 125. Let's go. The escalator they went through the ticket barrier. Mr. Weasley, delighted with the way the style swallowed his ticket and emerged onto a broad street lined with imposing-looking buildings, already full of traffic. "Where are we?" said Mr. Weasley blankly, and for one heart-stopping moment, Harry thought they had gotten off at the wrong station, despite Mr. Weasley's continual reference to the map. But a second later, he said, "Ah, yes, this way, Harry," and led him down a side road. "Sorry," he said, "but I never come by train, and it all looks rather different from a Muggle perspective. As a matter of fact, I've never even used the visitor's entrance before." The farther they walked, the smaller and less imposing the buildings became, until they finally reached a street that contained several rather shabby-looking offices, a pub, and an overflowing dumpster. Harry had expected a rather more impressive location for the Ministry of Magic. "Here we are," said Mr. Weasley brightly, pointing at an old red telephone box, which was missing several panes of glass and stood before a heavily graffitied wall. "After you, Harry." He opened the telephone box door. Harry stepped inside, wondering what on earth this was about. Mr. Weasley folded himself in beside Harry and closed the door. It was a tight fit. Harry was jammed against the telephone apparatus, which was hanging crookedly from the wall as though a vandal had tried to rip it off. Mr. Weasley reached past Harry for the receiver. "Mr. Weasley, I think this might be out of order, too," Harry said. No, I'm sure it's fine," said Mr. Weasley, holding the receiver above his head and peering at the dial. "Let's see, 6. He dialed the number. 2, 4, and another 4, and another 2. As the dial whirred smoothly back into place, a cool female voice sounded inside the telephone box, not from the receiver in Mr. Weasley's hand, but as loudly and plainly as though an invisible woman was standing right before them. "Please, welcome to the Ministry of Magic. Please state your name and business." Said Mr. Weasley, clearly uncertain on whether he should talk into the receiver or not. He compromised by holding the mouthpiece to his ear. "Arthur Weasley, misuse of Muggle Artifacts Office, here to escort Harry Potter, who has been asked to attend a disciplinary hearing." "Thank you," said the cool female voice. "Visitor, please take the badge and attach it to the front of your robes." There was a click and a rattle, and Harry saw something slide out of the middle chute, where returned coins usually appeared. He picked it up. It was a square silver badge with Harry Potter Disciplinary Hearing on it. He pinned it to the front of his t-shirt as a female voice spoke again. "Visitor to the Ministry, you're required to submit to a search and present your wand for registration at the security desk, which is located at the far end of the atrium." The floor of the telephone box shuddered. They were sinking slowly into the ground. Harry watched apprehensively as the pavement rose up past the glass windows of telephone box until darkness closed over their heads. Then he could see nothing at all. He could only hear a dull grinding noise as the telephone box made its way down through the earth. After about a minute, though it felt much longer to Harry, a chink of golden light illuminated his feet and, widening, rose up his body until it hit him in the face. He had to blink to stop his eyes from watering. "The Ministry of Magic wishes you a pleasant day," said the woman's voice. The door of the telephone box sprang open, and Mr. Weasley stepped out of it, followed by Harry, whose mouth had fallen open. They were standing at one end of a very long and splendid hall with gleaming golden symbols that were continually moving and changing like some enormous heavenly notice board. The walls on each side were paneled in shiny dark wood and had many gilded fireplaces set into them. Every few seconds, a witch or wizard would emerge from one of the left-hand fireplaces with a soft whoosh. On the right side, short queues of wizards were forming before each fireplace, waiting to depart. Halfway down the hall was a fountain. A group of golden statues, larger than life-size, stood in the middle of a circular pool. Tallest of them all was a noble-looking wizard with his wand pointing straight up in the air. Grouped around him was a beautiful witch, a centaur, a goblin, and a house elf. The last three were all looking adoringly up at the witch and wizards. Glittering jets of water were flying from the ends of the two wands. The point of the centaur's arrow, the tip of the goblin's hat, and each of the house elf's ears, so that the tinkling hiss of falling water was added to the pops and cracks of the apparatus. All whom were wearing glum, early morning looks, strode toward a set of golden gates at the far end of the hall. "This way," said Mr. Weasley. They joined the throng, wending their way between the ministry workers, some of whom were carrying tottering piles of parchment, others battered briefcases, still others reading the Daily Prophet as they walked. As they passed the fountain, Harry saw silver sickles and bronze nuts glinting up at him from the bottom of the pool. A small smudged sign beside it read, "All proceeds from the Fountain of Magical Brethren will be given to St. Mungo's Hospital for magical maladies and injuries. If I'm not expelled from Hogwarts, I'll put in 10 galleons." Harry found himself thinking desperately. "Over here, Harry," said Mr. Weasley, and they stepped out of the stream of ministry employees, heading for the golden gates, toward a desk on the left, over which hung a sign saying security. A badly shaven wizard in peacock blue robes looked up as they approached and put down his Daily Prophet. "I'm escorting a visitor," said Mr. Weasley, gesturing toward Harry. Step over here," said the wizard in a bored voice. Harry walked closer to him, and the wizard held up a long golden rod, thin and flexible as a car aerial, and passed it up and down Harry's wand front and back. "Wand," grunted the security wizard at Harry, putting down the golden instrument and holding out his hand. Harry produced his wand. The wizard dropped it onto a strange brass instrument, which looked something like a set of scales with only one dish. It began to vibrate. A narrow strip of parchment came speeding out of a slit in the base. The wizard tore this off and read the writing upon it. 11 inches, phoenix feather core, been in use for 4 years. "That correct?" "Yes," said Harry nervously. "I keep this," said the wizard, impaling the slip of parchment on a small brass spike. "You get this back," he added, thrusting the wand at Harry. "Thank you. Hang on," said the wizard slowly. His eyes had darted from the silver visitor's badge on Harry's chest to his forehead. "Thank you, Eric," said Mr. Weasley firmly, and grasping Harry by the shoulders, he steered him away from the desk and back into the stream of wizards and witches walking through the golden gates. Jostled slightly by the crowd, Harry followed Mr. Weasley through the gates into smaller hall beyond, where at least 20 lifts stood behind raw golden grills. Harry and Mr. Weasley joined the crowd around one of them. A big bearded wizard holding a large cardboard box stood nearby. The box was emitting rasping noises. "All right, Arthur," said the wizard, nodding at Mr. Weasley. "What have you got there, Bob?" said Mr. Weasley, looking at the box. "We're not sure," said the wizard seriously. "We thought it was a bog-standard chicken until it started breathing fire. Looks like a serious breach of the ban on experimental breeding to me." With a great jangling and clattering, a lift descended in front of them. The golden grills slid back, and Harry and Mr. Weasley moved inside it with the rest of the crowd. Harry found himself jammed against the back wall of the lift. Several witches and wizards were looking at him curiously. He stared at his feet to avoid catching anyone's eye, flattening his fringe as he did so. The grills slid shut with a crash, and the lift descended slowly, chains rattling all the while the same cool female voice Harry had heard in the telephone box rang out again. Level 7, Department of Magical Games and Sports, incorporating the British and Irish Quidditch League's headquarters, official Gobstones Club, and ludicrous patent's office. The lift doors opened. Harry glimpsed an untidy-looking corridor with various posters of Quidditch teams tacked lopsidedly on the walls. One of the wizards in the lift was carrying an armful of broomsticks, extricated himself with difficulty and disappeared down the corridor. The doors closed. The lift juddered upward again, and the woman's voice said, "Level 6, Department of Magical Transport, incorporating the Flu Network Authority, Broom Regulatory Control, Portkey Office, and Operation Test Center." Once again, the lift doors opened and four or five witches and witches got out. At the same time, several paper airplanes swooped. Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to read page 130.